The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a special taping of Young at Heart. We're taping this on St. Patrick's Day 2017, so I hope you had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. I found out this morning when I was watching an interview with the director of the Irish Heritage Museum in Albany that actually blue is the national color of Ireland. And my guest today has blue and green on, so I guess he's politically correct. The Americanized color, of course, is green for the shamrock and all things that are green in Ireland. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful nation. When I said a special edition of Young at Heart, today what we're doing is we're going to be talking about services for our older Americans, older Albany County residents. But as we tape this, it has just been announced that the federal government is looking to possibly cut funds for home-delivered meals, also known as Meals on Wheels. That will cause a tremendous amount of distress in not only just the community of older Albany County residents, but also those who are handicapped and can't get out of their homes, and that meet the qualifications as far as income to receive this very, very vital and important program. And we will be talking a little bit about advocating for ourselves. I want to talk very briefly about a lady from the 1960s and 70s, Maggie Kuhn. Maggie Kuhn was the executive director of the Grey Panthers. And she started it because in 1967, I believe, she was told that she had to retire because she was of the age of 65. She was working at a YMCA, or YWCA. And, you know, she felt that that wasn't a legitimate reason for saying that she had to retire. Maggie founded the Grey Panthers, and they changed a lot of things, one of them being mandatory retirement was eliminated, which I think is a great thing. Since I am the age of 65, I did retire in December of last year, and very lucky because of my boss, the county executive. He allowed me to come back part-time and still work with the Department for Aging. Today my guest is the commissioner of that department, the commissioner of the Department for Aging, George Brown. George has been with the department for some 17, 18 years now, and is doing a phenomenal job as the person who directs all of the services and programs that the Department for Aging serves. George, welcome to Young at Heart again.
Tom, thank you again for having me. It's always a joy to be here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And
the same to you.
Thank you for the fill-in on Maggie Kuhn and the blue and everything else. And we're here, and the department is strong as ever. And we're going to be better than ever in spite of all the obstacles. But you mentioned something that might be very critical, the Grey Panthers. It may be time
to resurrect
them. I know a couple years ago you and I were involved with a nursing home situation that was resolved, and everybody came together, and the county executive and everyone resolved that, and there was a lot of input from a lot of seniors and everything else. So maybe it's time we get out there and advocate with a lot of the groups that we haven't really had a lot of contact with, but in my tenure as the commissioner, I have been working with these groups on their boards and everything else and trying to put everything together, because we just can't do it alone. We need to group it up, and there's a lot of things happening state budget-wise. There's also things that I heard yesterday, but I can't get into it, and it's, you know, the federal budget, and all they did was throw out a bunch of percentages, and I really didn't get a chance to look into anything. But once again, both those budgets are tentative budgets, and hopefully the powers to be will make some changes that won't.
Now, you mentioned to me on the way up here, George, that the department serves some tens of thousands of meals a year.
Yes.
So it's not a small program that we're talking about possibly losing.
No.
It's a huge program, both congregate and home delivered meals. Now, home delivered meals are much more than the congregate, would you say?
Yes, home delivered meals are. I can't off the top of my head. I was trying to look at some numbers, but 70, 80,000 a year, based on the people that get them. I don't have the numbers. I was thinking about that on before we came up, because I was thinking of something else. It is a very viable program. It has changed from what it was when I originally came to the department to now a very viable part of the life of a senior, more than just an offshoot of a financial thing to be like cost of something, now to the point where it truly is to keep someone in their homes so they can thrive better and at least be happy in their surroundings. And the most important thing is, in spite of all the other cuts and everything, if we can't feed a senior, nothing else is important.
Yeah, and some people honestly don't want to go to a nursing home. And if they have the opportunity to, they would like to age in their homes. And there are programs and services that will allow people to do just that. And one of them that we're going to talk about today is the ISIP program. And ISIP program is run through a contract with our Department for Social Services. However, it's not welfare, so don't worry about that. A lot of older people don't want to take services. You've paid for them your entire life, and it's your tax money that's going to work to keep people in their homes. George, exactly what is the ISIP program?
Well, the ISIP program, as we've talked before, is the Expanded In-Home Services for the Elderly program. It is a state-run program through the New York State Office for the Aging, and it allows us, through the grant with a county match, to provide a myriad of services to keep a senior in their surroundings, their home, their apartment, their flat, whatever, by providing a reasonable amount of services to keep them in. They are non-medical services. There are level 1 and level 2 services, which are basically non-medical. Level 1 services are not as they're a lighter service, like some light dusting, make the bed, do the laundry, and then you have level 2 services, which are a little more entailed, such as maybe helping bathe and doing some other things, a little bit on a heavier lift, so to speak, but also of a non-medical nature.
There's also laundry services that are provided.
Well,
right?
when we talk about laundry services, the basic thrust of the ISIP program is the level 1, level 2 hands-on service, but there are a myriad of ancillary services which can be provided, through the program if the client qualifies for them. We do have a few. We have introduced many. There's a lot of things going on now. Number one being the aid shortage. To be able to provide services, we do have a waiting list.
Those are home aides?
Home aides that we contract. Just to step back, our ISEP, we are a contracting agency in Albany County. We contract our ISEP program through our Department of Social Services, and pretty much most of the program, the case management and everything, is done through them as our subcontractor. They in turn have their own subcontractors, aid services, and there's I think 8 or 9 or 10 that they subcontract to provide the service into the home of the seniors.
Okay, so it's imperative that we as older Albany County residents contact our local and federal legislators and ask them to try to do something to stop any cuts that would come down the pike for these types of programs, whether it be ISIP program or home delivered meals, because people's lives depend on it.
Oh yeah. Well, as you and I spoke earlier, back in February, the Association on Aging, of which Albany County is one of 59 AAAs, had an advocacy day right down the street from us, down at the state capitol. I had the opportunity to visit not only our own assemblymen and senators, but also the key assembly and senatorial people on the aging committees, and I found them very receptive. Okay, I also did accompany some of my colleagues from different areas of the state to visit their representatives. However, the outshoot of that was a program which was orchestrated through our Aging New York Association, of which Albany is a member, that we have contacted all our organizations to come up with a program, so to speak, to sign petitions and contact our state assemblymen and senators to let them know how important not cutting programs that were some of them that were in the governor's budget, his tentative budget, is that would be a disservice to the seniors.
But at the same time, he's saying that he wants to make New York State the first age-friendly state in the nation. And kind of it's like a tug of war. When you say one thing, I want to make this an age-friendly state, but I'm going to cut services. And where's the beef?
Well, as Dave said, where's the beef? And the problem is I recall hearing a speech that the governor gave about a certain issue, and after he gave the speech and how important it was, when I looked at his tentative budget, he cut out a segment of his budget that supported that program, and it kind of confused me. Of course, unfortunately, I'm a simple guy, and I look at a service, and I have always been fortunate, I guess, enough that whenever I provide a ride or a meal or an hour of ISEP, I have a tendency to see a face behind that, which, and if you're out there and you like I do, and you talk to seniors and providers, that basically is what it's all about.
So now we have the Rivers Casino in Schenectady, and if you're up there putting quarters in the machine, you should write to your legislator and let them know that you would like some of those quarters to go back to services for the aging population in New York State. And I know next month we are going to have a special program with John McDonald on it to talk about medical issues, as he is a pharmacist by trade, licensed pharmacist, and I'm attempting at this point to get Paul Tonko on, our congressman, who I'm sure has a lot to say about the possibility of cuts to programs for the older Americans, because he's quite an advocate for our population.
Yeah, he is. That I can tell you, the congressman is, and I've had a lot of dealings with he himself and some of the people in his office, and they've been very accommodating. Of course, it works both ways. When they have problems with constituents, they call us, and we work very well together, as I do with all of our other elected officials on the state and the government level. So.
Exactly. I want to read a couple of quotes from Maggie Kuhn. She was really a hellraiser, to put it mildly. She did say, "The ultimate indignity is to be given a bedpan by a stranger who calls you by your first name." And, I would imagine that it probably is. Being 65 became a crossroads. We said, we have nothing to lose, so we can raise hell. And she also said, I enjoy my wrinkles, regard them as badges of distinction. I've worked very hard for them. And, we do. And it's nothing to be ashamed of in today's world, to be, or even in the 60s and 70s when Maggie was told she has to retire, because we're not the type of people that want to be put out to pasture, to graze. I think it's time that we band together and make some noise. I don't think that's a bad thing for us to do, George.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm with you, Tom. I'm a couple years older than you are. I just turned 67, and at this point, I'm not ready to say sayonara yet. And if I do, I'm sure I might come back as you did, in some capacity, part-time, somewhere, somehow in the community. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on. The one thing that gets me sometimes is politically correct, if I can throw it into this. It seems that all of a sudden the moniker senior citizen is now politically incorrect. It's now older American. Well, I kind of looked at that as to say, at my age, most of the males in my family don't make it this long. So I kind of am honored by that senior thing, because to me it denotes someone who's been around a lot, experienced a lot, and believe me, belly up to some of these seniors and talk to them about things.
Well, when you think about it, a senior in high school is called a senior because he's achieved 3 different levels to get to that. A senior executive is a senior because he's proven his worth to the company, and he's being honored by that title. And I don't think there's anything wrong with senior either. But over the years, I guess, just like AARP, one of our partners is the American Association of Real Possibilities now. It's no longer the American Association of Retired People, because I think they take people in at 50 years old now.
Yes.
And I mean, we're talking about people are living older, and people are vibrant at an older age, yet some people think that it's good to become younger and be a senior. I don't know if I agree with that completely. I know we deal with people 60 and over pretty much.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. And that includes the meal programs, that includes all of the programs that we have.
Pretty much all of the programs, except the employment program, and I don't want to get into that because that's a slightly different issue than what we're really talking about here. But let's face it, as we get older, and you and I came from the same generation, and we're railroad brats, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I had to throw that one in for both our fathers, and they worked pretty hard. My dad for 50, and your father close to it too.
Close to 50, yeah.
And I kind of grew up not with a spoon in my mouth, as most of all my friends, but wound up with older parents than my neighbors and my friends in the neighborhood. And there's still a few around that are in their 80s, and they may have made big bucks back then, but I'm still getting calls. I got $20. It's the 24th of the month. Do I eat or do I? And I say the same thing all the time, but it's true, and that just shouldn't happen.
It's a horrible situation to be in. Do I buy medicine, or do I eat?
Exactly.
I'd like to go out to dinner with my friend, but I don't have the money. Or I want to go to a movie, but I don't have the money.
Exactly.
And that's a real problem with older people, that there just is not always the money for them to be able to enjoy those things that many of us take for granted, like being able to go out to dinner with a friend or go into a movie. Of course, you go to a movie nowadays, George, it's, by the time you bring a family of 4, you have to remortgage your house.
It's
after you buy those candy bars and
oh yeah,
a Reese's peanut butter cup, and it looks like a manhole cover.
Yeah.
They're huge. But question about ISIP is, how does somebody apply for ISIP?
Okay, as we know, and I'll restate it, the Office of the Aging, works through a program called New York Connects, and that's a number here in Albany County. It's 447-7177, and that will connect you to a caseworker or a case manager type person right in the office where I am, but through our Department of Social Services, and you would be talking to trained caseworkers who will discuss with you any issues and programs you had, and they will also make referrals to you. Now, the program itself, New York Connects, is undergoing changes within. It is now morphing from a county program now to a statewide program, where all the counties are all going to get into the same computer system and everything else. So it is called a no wrong door system, where you can call in with a myriad of problems, and you can be, sent to different areas. It may not be a senior issue. It may be an issue with the Association of Retarded People. It might be the Association of the Blind NABA, the Hearing Association, and anywhere else to help, because there are times seniors may not have that problem themselves, but they may be responsible for a child or a relative, or be the ward. They are the ward of somebody who.
Now, can people call that right now?
Yes.
Whether they're seniors or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone can call New York Connects if as long as somebody in your process is a senior, and needs services. And that includes a caregiver who may be calling on behalf of a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, because there are programs that go around for caregivers and everything.
How about a concerned neighbor or a concerned friend?
Concerned neighbor, concerned friend can start the ball rolling. Unfortunately, sometimes when you get involved in certain situations, there are HIPAA rules and requirements that we can't deal with. We have to know who we're dealing with. But someone could make a call in to refer somebody, and we could send someone out through our social service department, through the ISEP program, send a case manager out to get the ball rolling to see what needs that person.
Now, one thing I'd like to ask you about is paperwork, because there's a lot of rumbling now about the fact that in order to access a service from our department or from any department for aging in the state, you have to fill out forms.
Right.
And those forms, I think a lot of seniors think that it's an invasion into their privacy. But even if you want to get a meal in a congregate meal site, you have to fill out a form that tells something about the person. What's your thoughts on that?
Right. Well, first of all, we've always, even before this last couple of years with the statewide New York Connect, we've always asked people for certain information, okay? Because there was always a need for our providers of services, be it the state or the government, they want to know where their money is going. Okay, so just take a congregate meal. Okay, it wasn't enough to say you have to be 65 to get the meal, but they wanted a little more information. Obviously, your gender, your nationality. They were looking for a little bit of your background, maybe trying to get your financial information, which even to this day is tough. So you would allow somebody to say, my income is under $15,000. It's not 14,969 or whatever, and you pretty much work with that, because a lot of our programs are based on people's financial needs and the people's origins and everything else, the low income minorities. And the only way we would get that information is get that from the seniors themselves.
But not the congregate meal site.
Well, the congregate, believe it or not, we did have a form in the congregate meal site. And unfortunately, we didn't really press a lot of the information, but what we did get was acceptable at the time.
Okay.
And that was enough to be able to provide the meal. We have been told that Albany County has had some shortcomings as far as data to the state, and come to find out that with the new form that everyone will be filling out now, hopefully some of the information that the state needs through the New York Connects and the Pure Play system will have it, and Albany County will have it and be able to get it out there. Although when a senior does call in, it becomes a tedious sometimes thing.
So we're talking to seniors all the time to beware of fraud and scams, and not to give out too much information. And now we're asking them for a lot of information.
What
kind of guarantee do you have that that's not going to be used against them at all?
Well, here's the thing. If SOFA, the New York State Office of the Aging, and the federal government says, if you don't give me the information, then I can't provide you the service, then so be it. However, to back that up, we have a tremendous county executive.
Yes.
And we have a fantastic legislature who has been nothing but supportive of me and my department. And as you well know, you were involved with me years ago, that they've told me that, hey, if somebody needs to get a meal started and they don't want to give you the information, you go ahead and start the meal, and we'll pick it up somewhere in our funding source somehow. Which isn't to mean that if the 800 people last year that got the home delivered meal said no, that we'd be able to afford it, because I don't think the numbers are going to be that great. But as you said, it is creating a kind of a two-edged sword where we're saying guard it, but now we're asking for it. So, but rest assured, if somebody needs something started tomorrow and we can't get that all that information, we're going to start that service anyway, and we'll work on down the road getting that information.
So what you can guarantee is that no one will go hungry because of that particular
I can
problem.
have all the services in the world, Tom, to provide for people, but if they don't eat, everything else is a moot point.
Absolutely.
You know, if you don't have a good home delivered and congregate program, you can provide all the rides and the ISEP services and the 3E caregiver stuff and all the health insurance information, you know, consultations you want. But if you're not feeding people that can't feed themselves, it's all nil.
And we're talking, folks, about people who have, in most cases, worked their entire lives, and some of them are just living on Social Security. I know that people in the restaurant business that have been waitresses and waiters for 50 years have no retirement whatsoever. And so they're living on Social Security, which is very little because their income is very little. And these are people that have paid their debt to society, to us, and you know, have worked hard so that they can reap the benefits of being of old age. And unfortunately, if it doesn't work so that we can provide them with nutrition, we can provide them with transportation, we can provide them with legal services if they need it. So, you know, it's a difficult road to plow to get to these people. But when we do get to them, the last thing we want to do is to say, we can't give you services anymore.
Exactly.
Because you don't fill out a form.
And once again, we're at a point now where we're looking at almost two separate types of seniors. You got the senior, the traditional senior, as I call it, traditional older American, excuse me, that are up there that need the ISEP and a home delivered meal. And now you've got the younger senior coming along that doesn't need to get into those programs, but we need to start getting some services to them to maybe help them stay and feel a little bit younger, and that will be coming with preventive health programs and other things that they may need down the road. So, you know, it's wide open. It's changing. It's going to get better. And from a county point of view, from my point of view, my boss, the county executive, and the legislator have been behind me, and I have yet to have to go to them and say, you know, I need more money for something, because, you know, sometimes things always seem to even out, where nobody lacks anything except for the ISEP program with the aid shortage, where if something goes over here, it might be something short there, and we're able to move it. But I've been assured by 40 people anyway that if I need something, all I have to do is come down and ask, and the senior will not be denied anything within reason.
And that would be our 39 legislators and our one county executive.
And Mr. McCoy.
County Executive McCoy. Well, thank you, George, for being with us today and talking about the ISA program and some other things that are important to the future of programs for the elderly. Oh. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Tom, and have a good day.
Absolutely. I want to leave you with two more quotes from Maggie Kuhn from the Gray Panthers. She said, a healthy community is one in which elderly protect, care for, love, and assist the younger ones to provide continuity and hope. And she also said, power should not be concentrated in the hands of so few, and powerlessness in the hands of so many. I want to thank you once again for watching Young at Heart. We'll see you next month with John McDonald, our Assemblyman, and we hope you have a good day.